Hi, Queens. Snowy here. So I just wanted to make this video about establishing boundaries. So Venus is retrograde. We're knee deep in Libra season, and from a lot of the conversations I've been having during my self-discovery coaching calls, I just felt that with this overarching theme, it would just be really appropriate to make a video about it. So without further ado, and also, if you're new to my page or my channel, my name is Snowy. I am self-discovery coach and online hatha yoga instructor. So I really just help women of color to discover happier, healthier, and calmer versions of themselves through yoga and spirituality. So if you're interested in any of the services I provide, just go ahead and hit the description, and all of that stuff is there below. Also, don't be shy to hit the like and the subscribe button. Show me some love. Okay, so with all that said, establishing boundaries. So first off, let me go off and say that boundaries aren't always easy, but they are very necessary. They not only helps to cultivate relationships, but they also preserve ones that you have. Now, all relationships need boundaries. Some naturally it happens without much effort. Others, quite a bit of effort is needed. So, with that, it's important to note that um, the word boundary can come off as quite intimidating, um, but I like to think of an analogy. The analogy I like to think of is boundaries are just like the door, the lock you have on your house. So it's not to say that you don't want people to ever come over, or you don't ever, you know, um, have company. It's really just a matter of saying that you only allow company to come over when the time is right, when it works for you and them, when it's convenient, not any time and every time. You know what I'm saying? So it's not to say that no one is welcome ever. It's just a matter of like people are only welcome when they're welcome, basically. And so boundaries can be, I mean, they're fucking beautiful. Like it's really, they're one of the, it's a huge um, factor in relationships with people. Um, because again, like I mentioned before, all relationships have them to some extent. Others, they're very needed. They're needed in order for the relationship to continue, because without boundaries, some relationships can be unhealthy. And the only way to really right that wrong is by creating and establishing and upholding new boundaries that honor all parties involved. So let's see here, because I got some notes and I don't want to go too far off track here. So what happens when you establish boundaries? First of all, you feel better about your circumstances because they're based on boundaries that you have established. So I'll give an example. So let's say that you have a friend that asks you for a ride all the time. You mean, like, friend, I love you, but I can't give you a ride all the time. Like it's just really cutting into what I have going on, and I just have a lot of things that I need to do, and I just can't afford to do this anymore. Um, you know, I got you once a week, something like that. Like that is establishing a boundary. That's a boundary or a circumstance or a situation where a boundary needs to be placed, right? Because you feel burdened by the situation, and it makes you feel bad. You're not in your highest frequency when you're dealing with the situation. It takes you to a lower state, and you don't like that, and that's completely fine and completely understandable. So with that said, we need to do something about this. Like if something's continually bothering you, you feel like this boundary is is constantly being pushed, you feel like you're not being honored or respected, or that your friend just doesn't really have any respect for your time because they're constantly asking things of you. Now, again, it's not like just cut the person off. It's establishing healthy boundaries with people, right? So again, just as simple as I stated before, like, okay, friend, like, I am just having a really hard time. Like, I'm trying to do this right now, and I just can't afford to come and, pick you up all the time. Just, I this is what I can do, and this is why. Now, this is going to be very difficult. I'm not going to lie. Establishing boundaries in relationships that have never had them, it's not going to be an easy feat. However, what it does do is it creates the circumstances to which you feel honored, right? And that is the entire point of this, is to make sure that you feel honored. And not to discredit that the other parties need to feel honored as well. However, really the focus right now is you. Um, so yeah, it's just making sure that you feel honored in the situation, that you have said your piece, you have stated what it is. So, like, there's nothing wrong with um, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to give somebody a ride. There's nothing wrong with telling someone no. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. Now, it's just a matter of doing these things in ways that honor all parties. So figure out what it is that's bothering you. Figure out where you feel you need to establish boundaries. And then from there, you can start to place the boundaries by, again, doing as mentioned before, and start by actually telling the people that are affecting you, the people that need the boundaries to be placed, by explaining to them the way that you're feeling and what it is that you are going to do in order to change that. Now, doing this, it's instead of allowing people to dictate the way they treat you or what they expect from you, you create the expectations yourself. So, from then you'll be able to see how people honor and dishonor them. Now, like I mentioned before, it's not always going to be easy, especially with, loved ones and people that, close friends, people that you've been dealing with for a very long time, and things have always just been this way. Now suddenly you're changing things. It's, of course, it's going to be difficult for all parties involved naturally when there's a big change. However, what it really does is um, it it honors you and what it is, and where it is that you would like to go, what it is that you're trying to do, what you're trying to establish. And also it gives the other party the opportunity to acknowledge that they are in fact I mean, not necessarily, but yeah, violating this area or doing this thing. So, like, if you never tell someone that they're doing something, I mean, you can't get mad at the fact that they're doing it. But if you openly express what it is that's bothering you and why, well, that's a completely different story. You see what I'm saying? So then if you express yourself to someone that a boundary needs to be placed, and this is what's going to be happening going forward in order to establish that boundary. Now, they will act accordingly. Now, hopefully they honor this, and I mean, sure, they might slip up, and they might, they might slip up and they might still ask you something or whatever the case is, and that's completely normal and that's natural, because again, it's a big change in a relationship dynamic or whatever the case is. Um, but I say all that to say, just know that it's okay for it to happen. People will mess up. People will slip up. You will most likely feel guilty for wanting to establish said boundary. However, you have to keep at it. You have to be consistent with it. And you have to stand true to what you're saying and stand true to your word. And again, the people in your life, the other parties, if they are meant to be in your life, they will honor them. if you have openly expressed to someone that something makes you feel in a negative way and they don't do anything about it, or they're unwilling to do anything to change that, that takes us to the next section of establishing boundaries, which would be to actually end the unhealthy relationship. Because you can have boundaries with people, and again, like, some relationships are seamless and you don't even need to have conversations about boundaries being established, and others you do. So with that, it's just, you really, really, really need to make sure that that you're willing to do this. Okay, so it's not easy, especially considering, like, I might have to stop talking to someone or cut someone out of my life because, they keep doing this thing and I keep telling them that it doesn't feel right, or I keep telling them that I don't like it when they do that. And I feel like whatever this feeling is that it gives you, that, you know, um, so yeah, you just have to lay it down, really lay down the law, establish it, say it as fact, live as it is so. And again, be willing to take your boundary to the next level. Okay, so, maybe not go off and cut someone off entirely, but maybe you would limit your contact. Maybe you would limit the amount of time and effort that you give to this person. Maybe you wouldn't quite be around so much or quite as frequently. It's really just a matter of putting yourself first. People are so afraid of getting backlash from putting themselves first. But you have to understand how selfish it is to get mad at someone for wanting them to put themselves first. That within itself is completely asinine. And so it's just really taking your power back. It's not easy. It is a difficult task. It's not an easy feat. I'm not saying that it's something that can just be done overnight. I'm not saying that you're going to always feel um, completely happy with the decision that you've made, because you might feel lonely along the way and people might try to make you feel a little guilty. But when it's all said and done, the self-discovery journey is a self-discovery journey. Now, you can't continue along your path doing things that you did in the past and think that they're going to work now. Like, it's this is evolution, this is growth, and this is a huge aspect of the self-discovery journey, because establishing boundaries with people and in your relationships, it's really truly one of the most important things that you could ever do. Like, it is the foundation for many relationships, and without healthy boundaries, you really have there's really nothing to go from. Like, if you don't have a foundation, how do you build? What do you build on if you don't have a foundation? And that's kind of what boundaries are in relationships. Like, you can honor the fact that your friend has a life and is dating someone else also, and just because she wants to hang out with her new dude does not mean that she doesn't want to be with you. You know what I mean? Like, these are boundaries. These are little things, and they seem really small, but on a grand scale, on a grand scheme, they're huge. They're paramount. Um, so yeah, I don't. I don't know, I might redo this video. I hope that this works though. I hope that this has helped somebody. Again, when it comes to establishing boundaries, the first step is just to decipher what needs to be established. And then from there, start saying no. Um, and if the person doesn't honor them, if the person doesn't honor your boundaries after you've already expressed them, after you've already told them, well, then again, you know what to do next. So, um, yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I hope that I didn't ramble on too long or too much, but I hope that it's helpful for someone. Again, if you'd like to book a self discovery coaching call where we can talk live and discuss a roadmap or something regarding boundaries that maybe you need to establish with someone, or just maybe there are boundaries that you need to establish within your own self and within your own ways of thinking and believing. So, yeah, go ahead and shoot me a comment down in the comment box. Hit the link in the description. Again, hit the thumbs up, show me some love. And as always, it's my absolute honor to serve you. I love you guys. And yeah, till the next video.